The story begins with a rush through the hospital corridors, straight toward the emergency room. Inside, a patient's condition is critical. The nurses see that his heartbeat and breathing have stopped. At that moment, our hero, Dr. Yao, immediately takes action. He presses on the patient's chest and begins trying to save him. Thankfully, the medical team's efforts succeed, and the monitor shows that the patient's heart has started beating again. Once the situation comes under control, 2 nurses breathe a sigh of relief and thank Dr. Yao once again for saving the day. One nurse then takes the chance to criticize another doctor, calling him useless. But Yao overhears this and says, "It's okay. His job is to save lives, even if he's a little late." He tells the nurses that the patient is stable now, and that they can call him if they need anything. As Yao walks away, the nurses whisper to each other, "If only our husbands were like him." Exhausted, Yao goes back to his apartment to rest. As soon as he reaches home, he looks at the clock and realizes he is very late. He thinks his girlfriend Lily must be worried. He admits to himself that he has been working too much, but decides he'll make it up to her by spending the weekend with her. When he goes near the bathroom, he hears Lily's voice. She seems to be missing someone, so he gently opens the door to peek inside. But what he sees breaks his heart. Shocked, he thinks, how can this be? I've been deceived all this time. Watching the scene through the bathroom steam, his heart shatters and anger fills him. His fist clenches tightly. He wonders who the other man could be. But then he sighs, what's the point? Better to leave them with some dignity. Inside, Lily tells her lover, "Hurry up, leave, Yao will be home soon." The man laughs. "Doesn't the risk make it more exciting?" Yao recognizes his voice. Lily asks, "Did you talk to your father about my promotion?" The man replies that he will help. That's when Yao realizes the man is Gao Jiang. The truth hits him. Lily betrayed him for a promotion. The two even talk about Yao's job, saying he has no chance because Jiang's father controls everything there. Jiang mocks Yao as a loser and asks Lily if she feels even a little sorry for her boyfriend. With contempt, Lily says Yao is just an illegitimate child, and she doesn't care about him at all. The word, illegitimate, stabs Yao deeply, because his mother was cast out of the family for the same reason. He has carried that pain all his life. In the bathroom, Jiang asks why. Lily sneers that Yao doesn't even know who his father is. Jiang laughs and makes a filthy joke about Yao's mother. Yao's rage explodes. He storms into the bathroom and punches Jiang hard in the face. Stunned, Jiang asks, "Who are you?" But Yao stays silent, glaring at both of them with burning fury. Jiang recognizes him, and Lily panics, realizing Yao has seen everything. Heartbroken, Yao says he never thought Jiang Lily would be this kind of person. Wrapping herself in a towel, Lily answers coldly that she was blind to ever love a loser like him. She complains that after dating for more than 2 years, all she got was an old bracelet. She rips it off, throws it away, and declares, "From now on, our paths are separate." Yao's mind floods with memories of when Lily used to be happy, and he wonders how she changed so much. He looks at the bracelet lying on the floor, thinking about their broken relationship. Jiang mocks him, asking if he wants to stay and watch the show. Yao's patience finally snaps. He punches Jiang again, breaking one of his teeth. But Jiang refuses to give in, yelling that he's not afraid of Yao. Lily watches the chaos. Jiang lunges forward, landing a punch that sends Yao crashing to the floor. Without mercy, Jiang stomps hard on Yao's already weak arm. With a cruel laugh, he grinds his foot down and sneers that Yao doesn't know his place. He then tells Lily, "Let's go," and leaves Yao lying on the ground like a loser. Suddenly, from Yao's injured arm, the bracelet gives off a mysterious sound. A voice speaks. It is the spirit of Yao's ancestor, who left his consciousness within the bracelet. The spirit grieves at Yao's pitiful state and decides to teach him everything. But he warns, if Yao does not follow his guidance, his end will be tragic and lonely. At that moment, a golden energy dragon bursts out of the bracelet and plunges into Yao's chest. The pain is intense, and Yao is stunned by the sight. When the vision ends, he finds himself back in the bathroom, with no idea what just happened. Enraged, he curses the cheating couple. Then he stands and notices a strange blue glow shining from his hands. Looking at his injured arm, he wonders, what is happening to me? Everything feels like a dream, or an illusion. Suddenly, vast knowledge of ancient talismans and magical spells floods his mind. He learns about charms for fortune, misfortune, even ones that move on their own. The flow of knowledge doesn't stop. He discovers 108 spells, including ones for exorcising ghosts and heavenly vision. Overwhelmed, Yao is left in shock, wondering what exactly is happening to him. He looks at his hands, from where a blue energy glow is shining. Suddenly, his phone rings, and the screen shows the name Miss Bing. Lying on the floor, Yao picks it up. On the other side, an angry woman's voice commands him to meet her at the hospital first thing in the morning. Without asking anything, Yao agrees and hangs up. Then he wonders what happened. Why is the director so furious? She has never been this angry with anyone before. The next morning, Yao arrives at the hospital to meet his boss. As he walks down the corridor, some people are shocked to see a striking woman. Patients recognize her, whispering that she is the famous Professor Bai who once performed surgeries on their family members. This is Ba Bingjianga, the youngest chief surgeon in Jianga, with a resume that is brilliant and mysterious. Meanwhile, as Yao passes through the halls, some doctors glare at him with disdain. They whisper, "How does he still have the nerve to show his face here?" Ignoring their taunts, Yao reaches the director's office door. He takes a deep breath, dreading the conversation inside. Gathering courage, he knocks and announces his name. A voice inside says, "Come in." Yao steps in and freezes before the director's desk. With a stern face, she asks if he knows why he has been called. Nervous, Yao replies that he doesn't. But the director glares coldly at him and says she had always respected him. Then, furious, she throws a stack of papers at him, saying he has deeply disappointed her. Inside the papers are two identical medical reports, one signed by Yao, the other by Gao Jiang. Yao is shocked. How can my thesis and Zhang's be exactly the same? The director accuses him of plagiarism. Yao falls to his knees, insisting that he worked on the thesis for an entire month. He pleads that his ex-girlfriend, Jiang Lily, who was with him during the night shift, can prove his innocence. But the director doesn't believe a word. She tells him that Jiang Lily has already testified against him. Yao's heart shatters again. Lily has betrayed him once more. The director declares that, effective immediately, he is removed from the clinic and reassigned elsewhere. In shock, Yao thinks, if I'm demoted to a nursing position, how will I ever become a doctor? Defeated, he leaves the office, walking past the same doctors who sneered at him earlier. Filled with hatred, he swears to make that cheating couple pay for what they've done. Still shaken by the news, Yao waits for the elevator. As the doors slowly open, to his shock, inside are his ex-girlfriend and her lover, embracing each other. Boiling with rage, Yao thinks, truly, you meet your enemies at the worst possible place. Jiang mocks him, sneering. What a coincidence, running into you here. Yao curses his bad luck. Jiang taunts, saying he's lucky that Bing is looking after him. Confused, Yao wonders why Jiang is talking about Director Bai. Then Jiang pretends to be surprised, asking if the two of them are somehow connected. To provoke him further, he makes indecent remarks about the director, which fuels Yao's anger. Lily yells that she got the best intern removed so Jiang could shine. Jiang laughs, mocking further, saying he can do whatever he wants to Yao inside this hospital. At that moment, Yao realizes that the director was actually trying to protect him. He shouldn't leave the hospital. Jiang then asks Lily why she was ever with such garbage, and Lily answers that back then, she didn't know about Jiang. Jiang smirks and invites her to a hotel. She pretends to be shy. They keep mocking Yao, who watches silently, his fists clenching. His blood boils, but he remembers there are cameras in the elevator. He cannot act yet. He forces himself to calm down, thinking, revenge is best served cold. Finally, the elevator reaches the first floor, and a bell chimes. As the doors open, Jiang grabs Yao by the shoulder, stopping him. With disdain, Yao asks, What more do you want? Jiang laughs and says he won't make things easy for Yao in the hospital. Then he suddenly raises his voice, drawing everyone's attention in the lobby. He spins a false story about theft and violence, publicly dragging Yao's reputation through the mud. People around start judging Yao without knowing the truth. Other employees gasp, whispering how frightening it is to have such a colleague. Grinding his teeth in anger, Yao stays silent to avoid escalating the scene. But Jiang isn't finished. He calls for more attention and says he has something else to reveal. In front of everyone, Jiang exposes that Yao was raised by a single mother, humiliating him openly. That final insult pierces Yao's heart and ignites his fury. The crowd reacts in shock at hearing about Yao's family. Some mock him, asking how someone like him could ever become a doctor. Unable to bear the humiliation, Yao turns to leave. But then it hits him. If he runs away like this, his career as a doctor will be destroyed forever. He suddenly stops. A blue glow flares around him as a new idea sparks in his mind. Jiang jeers that Yao is running away in fear. But Yao steels himself. This is the time to try something new. With burning eyes, he asks Jiang, "Aren't you afraid of the consequences of your lies?" Jiang just laughs, saying he fears nothing because he's only telling the truth. A faint smile appears on Yao's lips. He's ready to make his move. Suddenly, Jiang collapses, red liquid spilling from his mouth. He lies on the ground, while everyone stares in shock, wondering what just happened. Something of Jiao crashes to the ground and shatters. Jiao groans in pain, his face scratched all over. He screams in agony, and his girlfriend Lily is stunned at the sight. Lily rushes to help Jiao and asks if he is okay. But he replies with a mocking tone. Yao approaches and asks Jiao if he doesn't think this is the result of his own karma. Hearing this, Lily is shocked by Yao's words. She accuses Yao of planning everything, but Yao simply asks if she has any proof. Jiao tells Lily to take him to the emergency room, and she agrees. Supporting him, she says he will be fine. Just then, a nurse passing by stumbles and screams. The tray in her hands flies, and medicine vials shatter in the air. The liquid splashes on Jiao's wounds, and he screams in pain. Lily is shocked. The nurse apologizes repeatedly, but Lily scolds her for negligence. Shouting at the other nurses, she demands a wheelchair. Lily sits Jiao in the wheelchair, and says she will take him to the emergency room. But as they try to use the elevator, it jams. Jiao screams in pain as the elevator doors crush against his body. Lily tries to pull him out, but he yells that she is hurting him even more. Security guards arrive and try to pry open the doors while Jiao continues screaming. Suddenly, all the hospital lights go out, and everything is plunged into darkness. Trapped in the dark, Jiao panics and screams for help. People around begin to wonder if this is some kind of divine punishment. Meanwhile, Yao watches it all with cold, calculating eyes. The story shifts into a flashback. A scene shows an ancient magical book. Yao is holding a talisman, saying he will try it on someone. The talisman glows blue. It is a powerful charm of misfortune. Back in the present, Yao thinks that evil always gets punished, and the talisman has worked like magic. It is revealed that the talisman is in Yao's pocket. With a satisfied smile, Yao watches the chaos he created. The scene then shifts to the hospital entrance garden where there is a large pond. Yao is passing by, thinking he cannot go home yet, or his mother will worry. Suddenly, he hears a scream. Someone has fallen into the pond. A small child is struggling in the water while people scream for help. The child starts to drown, and someone shouts to call an ambulance. Without hesitation, Yao runs toward the pond and dives in to save the child. He swims with all his strength, grabs the boy, and pulls him to the shore. On the ground, Yao asks where the child's parents are. Someone shouts that help is on the way, but the child is unconscious and not moving, leaving everyone anxious. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Yao immediately begins CPR. Slowly, the child starts to respond. His eyes open. After tense moments, the boy coughs and spits out the water. Shocked, the boy asks who Yao is. Yao tells him he saved him and asks about his family. Just then, an old man and his bodyguard rush over, calling the boy's name. The boy shouts, "Grandpa!" The old man hugs his grandson in relief, asking if he is hurt. The boy apologizes for the accident, then points at Yao and says he pulled him out of the water. Yao suggests they take the boy to the hospital and advises the old man to be more careful. The bodyguard doesn't like Yao's tone and asks if he knows who he is talking to. But the old man scolds his guard. He orders his assistant to take the boy to the car as they must go to the hospital. The old man then thanks Yao and admits he is right. He will be more cautious. Yao notices the gold chain around the man's neck and his expensive clothes, realizing he is no ordinary person. Nervous, Yao realizes he may have gotten into a big situation. The old man thanks him again and asks his name. He offers Yao a reward, a car worth $500,000. But Yao refuses. For a moment, they look at each other. Yao then asks if the old man ever feels any strange discomfort. Surprised, the old man says he has regular checkups and is completely healthy. Yao replies that he just sensed something unusual but may be mistaken, and tells him not to worry. He says goodbye, reminding the old man to take his grandson for a checkup. Watching Yao leave, the old man falls into deep thought. He recalls that for years, the world's greatest doctors examined him but never discovered his serious illness. He wonders if God is giving him more years to live before his death. In the car, the old man calls his bodyguard, who asks what the Dragon King wishes. The Dragon King orders his assistant to find out everything about Yao. Meanwhile, Yao has no idea that he has caught the attention of a very powerful man. When he reaches home, he calls out to his mother that he has returned. Just then, his mother comes out carrying a plate of food and asks why he is soaking wet. She dries his hair and jokingly says that maybe he fell into a lake. Yao is surprised, but the aroma of food is delightful. He begins telling her how he saved a child from drowning and then the child's grandfather arrived. His mother says he did the right thing but warns him to be careful because his life is very precious to her. She says he is her whole world and she doesn't want anything to happen to her son. Yao replies that she is just as important to him, then jokes that if she keeps feeding him like this, he will fall sick. His mother, Qian Jinglin, smiles at the joke. We learn that she once came from a prestigious family. Yao remembers old photographs as proof, though his mother never talks about the past. He feels that even though she came from a wealthy household, they were cast out and never had contact again. Yao recalls his mother's suffering when she had to leave home with little Yao. But he harbors even more hatred for his father, whom he has never seen. To him, his father is an irresponsible man who abandoned his mother and doesn't deserve to live. Yao sighs, remembering how every time he asked about his father, his mother would fall silent and sad. He chooses not to bring it up anymore, knowing it will only hurt her further. Then his mother tells him to invite Lily for dinner because she wants to talk to her. She says she wants grandchildren soon. Yao's mood turns sour. He makes an excuse about being tired and says goodbye. His mother accepts that he needs rest. He goes into his room and shuts the door. Lying on the bed, he thinks about how he needs to talk to his mother about something important, but he doesn't know how to tell her about Lily's betrayal. Restless, he keeps turning from side to side, unable to sleep. Then he suddenly remembers something that could change everything. His family possesses an entire collection of Mayan talismans, along with secrets of medicine and martial arts. Since he cannot sleep, he decides to make use of this knowledge. The night passes quickly, and a new day begins. Yao stays up all night, amazed by his family's hidden treasures. Then he glances at the clock. It's 10:08. He realizes he has to go to work. In a rush, he says goodbye to his mother, who advises him not to hurry and to go safely. Her son leaves, and she smiles, thinking how incredible his energy is. At the hospital, he notices the sign for the nurse station. Several nurses are there, and one of them looks especially troubled. A colleague explains that the patient in room 301 is very difficult and has already driven away 4 caregivers. Just then, the head nurse arrives and assigns Yao the task of looking after this troublesome patient. Reluctantly, Yao agrees and heads toward the room. To his surprise, the patient is a stunningly beautiful woman who calls him inside. Yao is stunned by her beauty and blushes. The woman questions the hospital, asking why they sent a male nurse to take care of her. Yao tries to stay professional. He shows his badge and introduces himself as Yao. The patient repeats his name, then smiles and pulls him closer to her bed. She asks what he thought when he first saw her. Nervously, Yao stammers that she looked very beautiful. The woman leans close to his ear and asks which part of her he likes most. Slowly, she brings her face nearer to his. The atmosphere heats up. Yao panics and gently tries to push her back, wanting to stay calm. She laughs, saying he is shy and his answer wasn't very honest. Yao struggles to keep his composure and says he will examine her leg. She jokingly replies that it feels embarrassing to have someone touch her leg. It feels strange. Ignoring her teasing, Yao bends down carefully and begins examining her injured leg. As he unwraps the bandage, he sees a large scar, and she winces in pain. Yao asks how she got the injury. The woman explains that her bones were broken in a car accident. Assessing the wound, Yao feels she doesn't need another surgery. Just then, a doctor enters the room. The woman says she doesn't want to keep a scar. She admits she was in a bad mood earlier, but this nurse cheered her up. She asks the doctor about the scar, and he replies that it will take months to heal. Disappointed, the woman asks if there is another way. Yao interrupts, claiming he can heal her within a week. The doctor explodes in anger, shouting that Yao is a fraud. The doctor's assistant also angrily says a nurse has no right to make diagnoses, but the patient, with a serious expression, silences the argument. The doctor tries to explain that Yao's claims are superstition, but she orders him to be quiet. The woman then stands and challenges Yao directly, asking if he can really remove her scar within a month. Yao explains it to her, and when she hears talk of magic, she becomes confused. Yao clarifies that these are secret techniques that hold mystical powers, not superstition. She asks him if he can really erase her scar, and Yao replies that it will only take 5 minutes. The doctor and his assistant don't believe him and mockingly say that if he's so powerful, then why is he just a nurse? Yao hesitates a little and explains that a man named Gui Jiang had set him up. The doctor cuts him off, saying to stop making excuses. But the patient silences the doctor again. She complains that hospitals are useless and says that if they can help her, then they shouldn't stop someone who can. She appoints Yao as her personal nurse and tells him to begin. Yao thanks her for her trust and immediately starts the process. With a wave of his hand, golden energy swirls around him. He gathers all the power into his palms, forming a bright orb. Quickly, he presses a paper talisman onto her wound. The doctor watches and laughs, calling Yao a good actor. The assistant mocks him too, saying he should become an actor instead of a nurse. But Yao ignores them both and stays focused on his magic. Suddenly, the talisman on her leg begins to shine intensely. The woman stares in shock. Her scar has vanished. The doctor looks at her leg and freezes, unable to comprehend what just happened. Her skin is flawless, something he thinks is impossible. In panic, the doctor grabs her leg and shouts that such fast healing is unnatural. But in anger, the woman kicks him away and says he's gone senile. With cold eyes, she tells him to leave if he has no other business. Embarrassed, the doctor apologizes and says he didn't mean it that way. The woman then asks Yao to teach her some beauty tricks, and he agrees. Outside the hospital room, a crowd has gathered. The doctor leaves quietly, lost in thought about how any of this could be real. His assistant asks if Yao is truly that powerful, but in anger, the doctor tells him to shut up and go back to the office. Meanwhile, the patient's room grows calm and quiet again. The woman silently studies Yao. Seeing her thoughtful gaze, Yao asks if something is on his face. Smiling, she leans closer, and Yao stammers, saying swelling is normal. She chuckles softly, enjoying his shy reaction. Climbing onto the bed, she boldly asks another teasing question, and Yao tells her she's moving too fast. She jokes, asking if he can't control himself because she's too beautiful. Yao's face turns red, unsure how to respond. She laughs, saying Yao knows how to please people well, and she will trust him. Formally, she introduces herself as Lin Jisher and extends her hand. Yao finds it amusing, thinking that the nickname, Fairy Lin, suits her better. When she asks what he said, Yao brushes it off, saying it was nothing, but she smiles, saying she heard it, and knows everyone calls her Fairy Lin, behind her back. Yao replies that calling her a fairy isn't completely accurate, which confuses her. He smiles and says she's even more beautiful than a fairy. His words captivate her, and she calls him sly and sweet-tongued. She decides to grant him one wish. Yao thinks and then says he wants to be her nurse for a month, since he might have to leave the hospital. Lin Jisher doesn't understand and says it's a waste. She could introduce him to wealthy women. But Yao insists his goal isn't money, but to become a true doctor who saves lives. She looks at him silently, impressed by his determination. With a soft smile, she closes her eyes and says she finally understands what he wants. She tells him she likes men who dream big, and from now on, he will be her exclusive nurse. Yao is shocked but very happy, thanking Miss Lin for the opportunity. He asks if they need a contract, which she finds amusing. After Yao leaves, Lin picks up her phone and calls someone, telling them to investigate the nurse named Yao. Moments later, a file arrives on her phone containing Yao's entire history. Reading it, she discovers his past is filled with theft and deception. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door. A man in a lab coat enters with a smile, greeting Lin. With a serious face, she asks who he is and why he's here. The man introduces himself as Dr. Gong from the surgery department. Then, he begins bad-mouthing Yao, claiming Yao stole his thesis and is a terrible person. Just then, Yao returns. Gong tells Lin that she should dismiss Yao because he can't be trusted. Lin smiles and repeats to Yao that the doctor called him lazy. Yao angrily warns Gong not to cross the line, but Gong glares at him. The doctor then turns to Lin, telling her to take his advice seriously. But Lin asks what if she chooses to keep Yao as her nurse? Gong threatens that the hospital won't take responsibility for any problems that arise. Annoyed, Lin asks if he's threatening her and if the hospital knows about this. Furious, she turns to Yao and starts speaking about the natural laws of the world, how animals adapt to survive. But Yao responds that he isn't someone who just adapts silently. He wants to change the world itself. Lin warns him that if he's too good, people will take advantage of him. Yao, with a serious face, says he understands her point well. Lin asks how long he will let others control him. Yao glares at Gong, startling him, and Gong demands to know what he's planning. Angered by Yao's defiance, Gong curses him. Without thinking, Yao smashes his fist hard into Gong's face. The room erupts in chaos. Gong clutches his face in shock, demanding how Yao dared to strike him. But Yao, wearing a grim expression, declares that he has endured enough and will no longer tolerate it. Enraged, Gong steps forward, shouting that Yao is begging for a terrible end. Suddenly, a firm, calm voice orders them both to stop fighting at once. It is Lin, scolding them for daring to fight inside her room. With a stern face, Gong demands to know who she really is. Lin reveals that she is someone even the vice president's son wouldn't dare to provoke, and she orders him to leave. Fear strikes Gong. Perhaps he has gone too far. Before leaving, he glares at Yao and threatens him. This isn't over. After Gong leaves, Yao turns to Lin and thanks her for helping. Smiling, Lin asks how it felt to finally fight back. Yao laughs, saying it felt great, and the two seem to enjoy the situation. Yao then asks if Lin thinks he's a coward for silently enduring so much. Lin looks at him and says he isn't a coward, but a very kind man. She explains that she understands he's new to society and has no connections, but with a serious face, she adds that she doesn't like such a way of thinking at all. Yao stays silent, stunned by her harsh words. Lin gives a chess analogy. If he always plays nice, predators will take advantage of him. With a smile, she warns him not to underestimate her. She has lived much longer than him. She says that the powerful always fear those who have nothing to lose. The more wealth and status one has, the more fear they carry. Then Lin reveals that Yao is not completely alone. Yao, confused, doesn't understand what she means. Placing her hand on his head, Lin declares that from now on, she will be his protector. Overcome with emotion, Yao grasps her ankle and, with tears in his eyes, thanks her. Lin chuckles softly, finding his reaction amusing. Tilting his chin, she teases him, saying that, "Thank you, isn't enough." Yao's face turns red, speechless from her teasing. She laughs, saying it was just a joke, and asks him to hand over the contract. Lin signs the contract, and Yao feels relieved that his job is safe. Lin then asks if he can fully heal her leg. Yao admits the process is slow. Bored, she listens until Yao offers to take her out for a walk, which excites her greatly. He brings a wheelchair, and she praises his thoughtfulness. Suddenly, she hugs him and says she will choose him as her boyfriend, leaving Yao shocked. She sits eagerly in the wheelchair, and the two head out together. Meanwhile, Yao's mother arrives at the hospital, thinking her son and his girlfriend must be busy. She carries a special lunch box filled with soup she lovingly made. Suddenly, she freezes at an unexpected sight and calls out a name, Lily. She sees her son's ex-girlfriend standing with Dr. Gong. Confronting Lily, Yao's mother learns that Lily broke up with Yao because of his theft. Stunned, she insists her son could never do such a thing. Gong mocks, saying Yao stole his thesis and even attacked him in the hospital. The mother, shaken by talk of theft and losing his job, desperately pleads with Gong that it must all be a misunderstanding. Annoyed by her persistence, Gong violently shoves her. The lunchbox she brought for Yao falls and shatters on the floor, soup spilling everywhere. Gong mocks the broken soup, humiliating her, and orders her to clean it up. Still, Yao's mother gathers herself and keeps apologizing for her son. With no other option, she kneels before Gong, begging him to give her beloved son another chance. Gong sneers arrogantly, saying he won't be swayed by her emotional blackmail. At that moment, Yao arrives and, seeing his mother kneeling, cries out in shock. He rushes to lift her up, begging her not to humiliate herself further. With hatred burning in his eyes, he glares at the doctor who insulted his family. Then, enraged, he seizes Gong by the neck with all his strength. His mother panics, trying to pull them apart, insisting it was her fault for kneeling. Despite being choked, Gong mocks Yao, daring him to finish the job. With cold eyes, Yao asks if he really thinks he doesn't have the guts. He squeezes harder, but his mother screams, begging him to stop. She desperately asks if her son is even listening to her, or will ignore her completely. Finally, Yao calms down. Gong accuses him of trying to kill him in public. Yao's mother quickly apologizes, taking all the blame and offering to pay Gong's emergency room expenses. But Gong shoves her hand away angrily, shouting if she thinks he's a beggar. He says not even 100,000 yuan will buy Yao his forgiveness. Filled with hatred, Yao can't control himself anymore. He lunges forward and slams his fist into Gong's stomach. Gong collapses to the floor in pain, shocked at what just happened. But Yao doesn't stop. Grabbing Gong by the collar, he easily lifts him into the air. From a distance, Lily watches the violent scene in horror, frozen in fear. Yao's mother covers her mouth, unable to believe what she's seeing. Yao's eyes glow red as he warns Gong that he will pay for everything he's done. Gong still mocks him, reminding him that the room is full of cameras and Yao's career is finished. His mother screams his name, begging him to stop. Lily quickly calls hospital security for help. But Yao ignores the threats, his cold, determined eyes never wavering. Without hesitation, he slams Gong hard onto the ground. Then, mercilessly, Yao stomps on his hand, making Gong scream in pain. Yao declares that he endured the false accusations of theft and deceit, but now Gong must pay for daring to hurt his mother. Gong pleads for mercy, but Yao hauls him up again and snarls that he will never forgive him for harming his mother. He slams Gong down once more, leaving him writhing in agony. Yao steps closer, demanding Gong apologize to his mother. But lying on the floor, battered and broken, Gong refuses, sneering that Yao can keep dreaming. At that moment, Yao's fury explodes. He warns that Gong will pay with his life, swearing he won't stop until Gong admits his mistake. He strikes another crushing blow, making Gong spit blood. But then, a woman suddenly appears, shouting for Yao to stop. Shocked, Yao freezes. The woman warns him that enough is enough. If he goes any further, he'll end up in jail. Lily rushes to her, begging the director to save her new boyfriend. With a commanding voice, the director orders Yao to release Gong. Yao looks at her silently. She appeals to him, asking if someone like him truly belongs in prison. Her words make Yao glance at his mother, who is crying in misery. Gently, the director places her hand on his shoulder and urges him to let go. At last, Yao releases Gong, who collapses to the ground. Yao embraces his mother, vowing that if Gong ever dares to trouble her again, he will erase him from existence. But Gong rises and loudly accuses Yao of trying to kill him in front of everyone. The director glares at Gong and demands if he even wrote that thesis himself, telling him not to take her for a fool. With firm authority, she ends the debate and forbids anyone to speak further on the matter. She then turns to Yao, telling him to wait in her office. In her office, the director looks at Yao and his mother, saying she doesn't even know what to say. Yao's mother apologizes to her boss, taking the blame for coming to the hospital to look for her son. But the mentor warns that Gong's family has great influence in the hospital. Yao declares he isn't afraid of consequences, but his mother interrupts, thanking the director for everything she's already done. She insists Yao must face this himself. Suddenly, the office door bursts open with a loud kick, and someone shouts the director's name. Everyone turns in shock as a massive, intimidating man storms inside. He is revealed to be Gong's father, the vice president. Furious, he yells that Yao attacked his son and that the director didn't even call the police. He approaches the director, demanding if she thinks she owns the hospital. The director defends Yao, saying it wasn't entirely his fault. His rival was also in the wrong. She urges him not to punish Yao alone. But the vice president refuses to listen, shouting that a violent, cheating plagiarist can never become a doctor. Hearing this, the director falls silent, looking troubled. Pointing a finger at Yao, the vice president declares that he isn't even worthy of being called human. Enraged, he orders security to throw the boy out immediately. At that moment, Yao steps in front of the director, telling her to step aside and leave everything to him. With a confident smile, Yao tells his boss to trust him, he'll handle it. The director is stunned by his attitude, not knowing what he plans to do. As the security guards close in, Yao challenges them all at once. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, a luxury car screeches to a halt. A man steps out, well-dressed, polished shoes, clearly someone of high status. His name is Zhou Yan, the personal bodyguard of the powerful Dragon King. At the gate, a nurse recognizes him and rushes to fetch the vice director, but he ignores her and continues walking. Back inside the office, Yao defeats all the security guards with ease. Then he turns, saying he can no longer stay in this hospital. He goes to his mother, telling her it's time to go home. Suddenly, the office door opens again, and a stranger enters, staring directly at Yao. Yao wonders who he is. The newcomer asks if they can talk later. But Yao replies regretfully that it's too late. He has already been fired and is taking his mother home. The bodyguard silently studies him, as if trying to understand the situation. Then, the vice director arrives and, apologizing to the visitor, tries to pin the entire conflict on Yao. But the bodyguard ignores him and, in a cold voice, asks, "Is the boy dead?" The rival's father, Gong's father, explodes in rage, shouting that his son isn't dead, it was just a small matter. Then, the suited man looks at Yao and declares that he has come here under the command of the Dragon King. Hearing this, Yao is shocked. Even Gong's father is left speechless, unable to believe it. Now our hero and the bodyguard are sitting in the car, on their way to meet the Dragon King. Inside the car, the hero calls his mother and tells her that he'll be home soon. The hero thinks to himself that these people don't seem good, then asks, "Why is the Dragon King calling me?" The bodyguard scolds him. "Watch your tongue when you speak about the king." Sweat appears on the hero's forehead as he wonders, who exactly is this Dragon King? Annoyed, the bodyguard snaps, "Every child in this city knows our boss. His name is Long Jiangwo, the king of Jianghe's underworld." The hero suddenly remembers. The man he met yesterday was none other than the Dragon King himself. The driver confirms it too, saying that he is the Dragon King's personal bodyguard. The luxury car drives up a mountain road, then screeches to a halt. The bodyguard looks at the doctor and says, "Go inside." A little nervous, the hero nods and steels himself for what's coming next. Together they climb the stairs toward the meeting place. In a beautiful garden outside, they see an old man completely absorbed in calligraphy. The bodyguard warns, "Boss doesn't like to be disturbed, you'll wait here." The hero quietly watches the underworld boss, who writes with intense concentration. His eyes fall on the paper, and he realizes the poem is about a warrior who conquered the world, carried everything in his heart, but in the end grew old and let life slip away in vain. Softly, the hero mutters, "What a pity." The old man suddenly slams down his brush in anger and glares. His dangerous aura and sharp gaze fill the air with heavy tension. The bodyguard panics, forces the hero's head down, and whispers, "Apologize at once," but the boss himself asks, "What did you mean by that?" Slowly, the hero explains, "This poem is about a general who, in his lifetime, was never truly appreciated. And your strong, heavy handwriting doesn't match the feeling of the poem. It looks more like the writing of a brave but aging general who's standing at the final edge of life." The hero's heart trembles. Maybe he has said too much. But to everyone's shock, the boss bursts out laughing. He smiles and says, "This boy has sharp eyes. He knows how to see through people." The hero is stunned. Then the boss turns serious. He explains why he called him here. "My time is running out. I want you, as a doctor, to treat my illness." The hero hesitates. "But sir, I'm only a trainee physician. I don't even know exactly what your illness is." The old man replies, "Listen. If you give your very best and still fail, so be it. I have no complaints. I'll accept death gladly." The hero feels both pressure and despair. Still, he steadies himself and begins an examination. Suddenly, he is shocked. The Dragon King's right hand is ice cold, like a block of frozen stone. But when he touches the left, it's burning hot, like boiling water. The Dragon King studies him closely as sweat drips from his face, freezing him in place. Finally, the hero says, "You have only 7 days left to live." Mr. Zhu explodes in anger. "Are you insane? What nonsense is this? Mind your tongue." But the Dragon King raises a hand and stops him. "Tell me, boy, did you find the cause of my illness?" The hero takes a deep breath. "If I'm not wrong, you've been poisoned." The Dragon King nods. "These symptoms have tormented me severely for the last 6 months." The hero explains, "This is a special kind of poison. According to ancient texts, it is the Eve family's secret technique. The toxin hides within the blood, which is why normal medical equipment can't detect it." The Dragon King recalls, "For 3 years I always felt cold." The hero continues, "And for the past 6 months, you've felt constant heat." The Dragon King's eyes widen. "Exactly right." With certainty, the hero declares, "Now I'm sure. Inside your body flows young serpent poison." Mr. Zhu blurts out, "Then can you cure it?" The hero searches his mind, recalling the ancient book. It says the cure requires the heavenly eye, a mystical power located at the center of the forehead, able to see anything in existence, ghosts, invisible things, or even microscopic matter. Nothing can hide from its gaze. The poison inside the Dragon King is as small as a hair, drifting through his body like a parasite. The hero asks, "Do you know anything about the heavenly eye?" The old man grows very solemn. The hero explains, "Yes, only with the heavenly eye can we peer into your body without cutting it open and extract this poison." The Dragon King replies, "As far as I know, there are only 3 people in this world who possess that power. First, the head of Wudang Mountain. Second, the chief of Longu Mountain. And third, the Buddha of Tibet." Sometime later, the scene shifts. Our hero Yao was returning home by car for the 2nd time. Yao was deep in thought. Who could have poisoned the Dragon King despite his immense strength? The story flashes back to an hour earlier. The Dragon King was taking off his shirt, revealing a strange purple mark on his back. Yao said, "Dragon King, this might hurt a little. Are you ready?" The Dragon King simply replied. Yes. Yao exhaled deeply, then took a needle and pierced several points on the Dragon King's back, performing a special technique. The Dragon King was in excruciating pain, drenched in sweat. The technique was named 9-Needle Mingmen Point Technique. Within moments, Yao completed the procedure. Mr. Zhu and Yao supported the Dragon King. Suddenly, Zhu was utterly shocked, because the Dragon King's back was now completely clear, the mark had vanished. He was restored to normal. Yao said, Now the Dragon King will remain stable for about a month. But we must quickly find the person who possesses the heavenly eye. Mr. Zhu replied, I will head into the desert at once to find the Buddha. He will surely help our Dragon King. The Dragon King expressed his gratitude to Yao. The scene returned to the present, where Yao was talking with Mr. Zhu. Zhu said, I'll find the Buddha as soon as I can. Yao then asked curiously, Tell me, what is this tiger list? And why does our Dragon King's name appear on it? Zhu explained, It's like the Forbes list of billionaires, except in the martial world. The Tiger and Dragon lists rank the strongest martial artists. The Tiger list is updated every 5 years through a grand competition, where martial artists from across the world gather to fight. The top 30 earn a place on the list. Before falling ill, our Dragon King ranked 12th. As for the Dragon list, it is held once every 10 years. Every year, fighters challenge those already on the list. Their names are engraved on a stone tablet, and they are honored as Grand Masters of the martial world. The leaders of Wu Mountain and Longgu Mountain hold second and third places. Fifth belongs to a woman from the Murong family, and first, Xiao Wuji, known as the Emperor of the martial world. He once defeated an army of 5,000 single-handedly. Every year countless challengers face him, but none can withstand his terrifying power. Shockingly, he is only 35 years old. He rose to fame just 10 years ago. Yao was stunned. So at just 25, his power was already godlike. Zhu nodded. Sooner or later, his name will enter the God list. Very few know about the God list. Its competition is held only once every 30 years, Yao said eagerly. I'd love to meet them one day. Zhu glanced at him with irritation. Yao joked. Do they have 4 arms and 3 heads? What do they look like? He thought up unbelievable things as their car moved forward. Suddenly, the car stopped in front of a hospital. Mr. Zhao said, If you ever need help, just tell me. I'll do everything I can. Then Yao entered the hospital. Walking down the corridor, he stepped into Sister Lin's room without permission, only to freeze in embarrassment. Miss Lin was changing her clothes. Startled, she said, Oh Yao, what are you doing here? And why are you blushing like that? Yao squeezed his eyes shut. Sister, your clothes, look at them! When he glanced again, he screamed in shame. Moments later, the scene showed Yao fastening the button of Miss Lin's dress, since she didn't even know how to do it properly. Yao said, Big Sister Lin, if you have trouble next time, just call a nurse. We're all here to help you. But Sister Lin hushed him with her finger on his lips. She whispered seductively, No nurse could ever be as kind and gentlemanly as my Yao. Then, she lifted him onto the bed. With a charming smile, she asked, Yao, you're so good. Can I become your life partner? Yao's face turned red like a tomato. Lin gently pushed him onto the bed. The atmosphere grew warmer and warmer. Miss Lin pressed on. Why are you so quiet? Listen, I promise, I'll always keep you happy. I'll make sure you never lack anything. Yao thought nervously, what should I say? I might never get such an offer again in my life. Finally, blushing hard, he stammered out, Yes. Miss Lin covered her mouth and laughed softly, then burst into loud laughter. She had only been teasing him. Yao sat frozen, speechless, like a complete fool. Later, at her request, Yao loosened her dress a little. When he handed her water, Miss Lin said, So, you gave that Dr. Gua a good beating today? But from what I know, he'll recover soon. If I were you, I'd never give people like that a second chance. Forgiving the wrong people might cost you your life. Yao said nothing, only smiled awkwardly. The scene shifted again, this time to another hospital room where Dr. Guo was receiving emergency treatment. Lily arrived, asking about his condition. She explained that Guo had undergone surgery, with broken arms and legs, and it would take at least 6 months to recover. But Guo shouted angrily, "Get out!" Lily covered her mouth in shock. "Guo, you yelled at me?" "Yes." "Now leave!" he roared. Crying, Lily ran out of the room. From behind, Guo spat. "Thief, it's because of you that I ended up like this." He tried to lift his arm, but agony shot through him, and he screamed loudly. "Yao! Just wait. I'll destroy you and your whole family." The scene shifts. At night, our Yao returns home. His mother immediately rushes to him and asks, "Yao, my child, are you all right? You haven't suffered any more trouble, have you?" Yao shakes his head and says nothing. In his heart he thinks, it seems Deputy Director Guo's father has realized I have some connection to the Dragon King. Now he won't dare cause me any more problems. His mother exhales a long breath. She had been extremely worried. Suddenly, she says, "Mr. Zhao, the bodyguard, he sent something for you this evening. Look, it's on the table. He said it's a gift from the Dragon King." Yao opens the box and finds a ginseng root over 100 years old. His mother tells him, "They said this will be greatly beneficial for your body." Yao thinks to himself, a ginseng of this size is nearly impossible to find on the market. Even if it exists, the price would be astronomical. For martial arts, this is priceless. Do they really think this will help me walk the martial path? Who knows, but maybe, with this, I too could become a martial god like Xiao Wuji. Let's try it. He tells his mother, "Mom, I won't have dinner tonight. I have something important to do." Before she can say more, he heads straight into his room. There, with his spiritual sense, he searches for a suitable cultivation manual. Suddenly, he notices a strange glowing book. He summons it immediately. On the first page, it is written by the master who left this legacy for heroes like him. When he first received this book, he had already begun on the martial path. The skill inside could only be learned by those just starting martial arts, and it was an exceptionally powerful technique. Yao is instantly captivated. "This is what I'll learn," he says. He consumes the ginseng and begins cultivating the divine martial art. Slowly, he focuses on controlling his breath. Then he whispers, "Rindu meridians, open!" It was as if lightning surged through his body. His eyes snapped open. He felt the pure energy of nature flowing all around him. He realized, it was the ginseng that allowed him to absorb energy so quickly. By the time night faded into morning, Yao was still deep in meditation. Muscles had formed on his body. He looked far more masculine and powerful. Opening his eyes slowly, he clenched his fist, feeling the strength within. Then, in his palm, he formed a glowing spirit ball, radiating with yellow light. With confidence he declared, "Now I'll show those people their true place, the ones who always underestimated me." The scene shifts again, this time to the hospital. Yao is stepping out of the elevator carrying food. Suddenly, Lily shouts, "So, I finally found you." Yao ignores her and tries to walk past. But she refuses to give up. "Look, as your good friend, I'm telling you, there's still time. Go and apologize to Guo. Otherwise, I'm afraid he'll have you thrown out of this hospital." But Yao keeps walking, brushing her off coldly. "If you're done barking, you can leave now." The girl grows angry. "If it weren't for Guo, I wouldn't even look at you twice." Yao smirks. "Ah, now I understand. You're afraid he'll dump you, aren't you? That's why you want me to apologize, to prove your worth. Well, I'm not doing it." He walks away while Lily screams after him. Now Yao heads to Miss Lin with breakfast. The scene changes to a special VIP room. Yao arrives with dumplings and sandwiches. Seeing this, Miss Lin casts him a playful, seductive glance. "Yao, can't you feed me? You're my personal contracted nurse, after all. That much you can do." Yao agrees and begins feeding her dumplings. But with the first bite she yelps, "It's too hot. You should have cooled it with your mouth first. Now blow air into my mouth, my lips are burning." Just then, the director arrives, coughing loudly. Yao turns awkwardly. The director closes her eyes, clearly displeased. Approaching Lin, she says, "Your injury doesn't look that bad. So when are you leaving?" Miss Lin laughs lightly. "Sorry, but you may leave now." As their quarrel escalates, Yao tries to excuse himself. "Why don't you two talk? I'll step outside." But both women simultaneously reply, "Absolutely not. You're staying right here." Naturally, Miss Lin knew Director Bai. "Teasing?" she asked. "So, did you come here just to see me?" The director shook her head. "No. I came to speak with Yao." She immediately tried to summon him to her side, but Miss Lin interjected sharply. "Yao is under my care right now. You can't take him. Find someone else for your business." The director grew furious. "Remember, Yao is staff of this hospital, not your servant. Find someone else." Miss Lin gently touched Yao's arm and said, "No. Among all your staff, this Yao is the one I like most. He's handsome, he cares for me so well. I like him so much that I'd even be willing to marry him." Yao froze, utterly shocked. His whole body trembled with goosebumps. The director stormed out, slamming the door. Shouting, she said, "Yao, if you still want to work in this hospital, come with me. Do whatever else you want, but come now." Then she left angrily. Miss Lin and Yao could only stare in stunned silence. Some time later, Yao is shown with Director Bai. Director Bai asks, "So, what exactly is your relationship with Miss Lin?" Yao raises his hands, insisting on his innocence. But Director Bai presses him further. "Tell me, which nurse shares a bed with their patient?" Yao comes under heavy pressure. He realizes that Director Bai is truly furious. Still, she warns him. "Miss Lin Jingji is not an ordinary woman. The farther you stay away from her, the better." Yao replies, "For now, Miss Lin is my only client." Director Bai nods slightly. "Fine. But remember one thing, she poisoned her own fiancé to death." Yao is deeply shocked. Director Bai continues, "At that time, there was a huge uproar. But due to lack of solid evidence, she was only expelled from her home and family. Yet with her beautiful face, clever mind, and snake-like cunning, she quickly rose to become a powerful figure again." Yao asks, "How do you know all this?" Director Bai grows very serious as if about to reveal something important, but then she goes silent. Leaving, she says, "Take care of yourself. I'll try to get you promoted back to doctor soon." Yao simply smiles and thanks her, but before leaving, she pauses and says, "Listen, you don't need to call me director anymore. You can call me by my name." Yao blushes slightly. But before he can say anything more, his phone rings. An unknown number. He answers. A voice says, "Hi, Yao. Your mother is in our hands. Come to the abandoned building near Zombie Road within half an hour. Otherwise..." The man starts laughing loudly. The scene shifts to that very building. Many thugs are gathered, holding bats and weapons. Gua is there too. The gang boss smirks and says, "Young Master Gua, do we really need so many men just for one boy?" Gua sneers, "Of course. I won't give him any chance to escape. At the very least, we'll break his arms and legs. Only then will my soul find peace. And since we already have his mother, he will definitely come here." The boss looks strangely at Yao's mother, Qian, and says, "Look at this woman, she's so beautiful. I want her." Gua frowns. "What nonsense are you spouting? She's an old woman. What interest do you have in her?" The boss strokes Qian's cheek and laughs. "Old? She's only 5 or 10 years older than me. I have no interest in little girls. I prefer this. Hey, can you hear me? Just listen to me, and you won't suffer. We'll even spare your son." At that moment, Qian regains consciousness. Terrified, she asks, "Who are you people? What grudge do you have against my son?" The men taunt her. "Hey auntie, don't you recognize me?" Qian suddenly recognizes Gua. She screams, "Aren't you afraid of the law? You'll all go to jail. Don't do this, let me go." The boss slaps her hard. The law is for ordinary people. I fear nothing. Gua snarls. Because of Yao, I've ended up like this. I won't get out of this wheelchair for 6 months. He will pay. Qian steels herself. To escape, she suddenly bites the boss's hand. He howls in pain and kicks her down. Then he yanks her up by her hair. Gua orders, "Take off her coat, so that Yao will feel even more humiliated." Just then, Yao bursts into the building, shouting, "Gua Shao Kong! Tell me where my mother is!" Gua laughs coldly. "Oh, so you came. Look, your mother is right behind me. I'm not even sure if she's alive anymore." Yao sees his mother, badly tortured. Qian cries out, "Yao, my son! Run away! There are too many of them, you can't fight them all." But Yao, burning with rage, charges forward. The thugs prepare to attack. Gua orders, "Go! Cripple him!" Furious, Yao rushes in and starts striking them down. The boss yells, "What are you waiting for? Attack him together!" The gang surges at once. Yao knocks them aside, then smashes a brutal punch into Gua's face, sending him flying from his wheelchair and skidding far across the floor. Yao then turns to the other thugs, pummeling them with fists and kicks. Seeing this monstrous strength, even the boss is stunned. Moments later, Yao has defeated them all. The terrified boss collapses to the ground. Yao fixes his gaze on him. "Now it's your turn." The boss pulls out a sharp knife, trembling. Then, forcing courage into his voice, he shouts, "What can such a young brat do to me?" He lunges and plunges the knife into Yao's stomach. Qian screams her son's name in horror. Gua, lying on the ground, gives a cruel smile. At last. But when the boss tries to pull out his knife, he sees that the blade has snapped and fallen to the ground. Shocked, he stammers, How is this possible? Are you even human?" Inside, he begins to panic. Could it be? Could this Yao actually be a martial artist from the Great Tiger List? No. I can't take that risk. He tries to run away. But Yao moves forward swiftly and says coldly, "So it was this very hand you used to touch my mother, wasn't it?" The boss is completely stunned. How can anyone move so fast? The next moment, a sharp pain explodes in his shoulder. His arm has been broken clean off. Screaming in agony, he collapses to the ground. Yao says, "And with this leg, you kicked my mother." The boss crawls backward, trembling. "Please don't kill me. I'm innocent. This was all young Master Gua's plan." Yao grabs him by the collar and growls, "You should have thought of that earlier." In a panic, the boss blurts out, I'm actually one of the Dragon King's men." Yao is startled. The boss keeps begging for his life, swearing he'll never do such things again. Yao thinks to himself, this is the right moment to test the Dragon King. I won't kill him, yet. Out loud, he says, "Fine. Make the call. Summon whoever you know." Some time later, Yao frees his mother and picks up her jacket. She looks extremely distressed. Yao gently helps her into the coat, apologizing that she had to suffer because of him. Soon after, more people arrive. It's Mr. Zhao, the Dragon King's bodyguard. Seeing Yao and his mother, he sighs with relief. Thank goodness they're not badly hurt. Otherwise, this would have been a disaster. Yao also notices him. The gang boss, desperate, clings to Mr. Zhao's leg. "Mr. Zhao, please save me! This man wants to kill me. Look, he's already crippled all my men, and now he wants to kill me too. Please help me." Mr. Zhao narrows his eyes. All of this. Yao Sir did it alone. The boss gulps and nods in fear. Mr. Zhao stares coldly. Do you even know who he is? You and Gua, did you forget how deep Yao Sir's connection with the Dragon King runs? I myself brought him before the Dragon King in front of all of you. Gua is speechless. Mr. Zhao's voice turns icy. Now, not even God can save you. You dared to attack the Dragon King's lifesaver. The boss is utterly terrified, so much so that it's clear he's wet himself in fear. Mr. Zhao approaches Yao and apologizes, offering the hospital's most luxurious VIP room for his mother's treatment. With a respectful smile, he says, "As for these men, leave them to us. You'll never have to see them again. That's my promise." Yao says nothing and starts to leave with his mother. At that moment, a man in a black coat asks, "So, Mr. Zhao, what should we do with these people?" Mr. Zhao replies coldly, "Do what we always do, wipe their existence from this world." The scene shifts. At the hospital, Yao brings his mother into a room. She insists, "All this wasn't necessary. It's just a small injury. A few days at home and I'll recover." Director by herself comes to examine her. She prescribes some medicine and simply advises rest. "If anything goes wrong, come directly to me." Yao's mother smiles. If only Yao had a partner as kind as Director Bai, I could close my eyes without any worry. Yao tries to hush her, glancing at Director Bai, who looks slightly annoyed. But Bai chuckles and says, "Well, I can't speak for the rest, but as long as Yao is in this hospital, I'll always look after him." Grateful, Yao's mother takes Director Bai's hand and thanks her warmly. Yao thinks so Director Bai has a soft side too. She has all the qualities a woman should have. Catching his gaze, Director Bai blushes with anger. "Hey boy! Why are you staring at me like that?" She quickly turns away. "Anyway, I've made all the arrangements. Finish your paperwork, and from tomorrow, you'll officially rejoin the hospital as a doctor." With that, she leaves. Yao walks away, thinking, tomorrow, as a doctor, I won't be able to take care of Miss Lin anymore. He's about to say something when suddenly he sees something strange. At Miss Lin's door, a man stands guard, declaring, "No one is allowed inside right now." Then Yao hears shouting from inside, the sound of someone hurling insults at Miss Lin. Looking in, he sees a muscular girl slapping Miss Lin across the face. Miss Lin, however, remains silent. Yao rushes in, shocked by the sight. The bodyguards move to block him. Yao shouts, "Who are you people to storm in and attack our patient like this?" One bodyguard sneers, "Listen, kid. This doesn't concern you. Walk out like a good boy." Yao shakes off his hand and slams him to the floor. The others surround him and attack, but Yao easily overwhelms them, knocking each one down. The muscular girl glares furiously. "Who are you? It doesn't matter. Today, Lin, no one will save you. You poisoned my brother, your fiancé, and now you're hiding behind another man. I won't allow this." She raises her hand to strike again, but suddenly, a strong hand catches her wrist. Yao steps in front of Miss Lin, protecting her. The blonde girl snarls, "Shameless woman! Now you're even seducing this little boy. Don't you have any shame?" Miss Lin quietly says to Yao, "Look, you don't need to get involved." She'll leave after a while. But Yao replies firmly, "Listen, I didn't care when others attacked me. But you taught me to face things head on. I don't know if you're right or wrong, but I will protect you." Miss Lin is stunned. Slowly, a smile forms. "All my life, people only insulted and exploited me. No one ever thought of me, not even once. I convinced myself I could handle everything alone, that I needed no one. Yet today, a small hospital nurse is standing up for me. Just because of a contract, or maybe just a little kindness I once showed him." Tears well in her eyes. She smiles at Yao and says, "Thank you." The blonde girl steps forward again, furious. "You're just a mere nurse. And you dare protect a criminal?" Yao answers seriously, "Everyone comes here for treatment, whether they're called hero or criminal. Just because you call someone a criminal doesn't make them one." The blonde girl looks around. All her bodyguards lie unconscious on the floor. She can no longer stop Yao. Gritting her teeth, she hisses, "What have you done to this boy? You've turned into a vile woman. I don't know what my brother ever saw in you to want to marry you." For the first time, Miss Lin speaks up. "Yanu, watch your words. You've always insulted me and cursed me. Is that the upbringing of your family?" The blonde girl storms forward enraged. "Shameless! Now you even dare talk back to me?" She swings a punch, but once again, her hand is caught. It's Yao. the girl shouts angrily. Do you even know who I am? You'll pay dearly for this. Remember my words.